Major Bruce Crandall's helicopter operations during the Battle of Ia Drang exemplify the technical challenges faced by Aviation Medal of Honor recipients. Maintenance records show that Crandall's aircraft sustained multiple hits from enemy small arms fire, rotor blade damage from tree strikes, and hydraulic system leaks that affected flight control response. Despite these mechanical problems, Crandall continued flying evacuation missions because wounded soldiers required immediate medical attention that could only be provided through helicopter transport to field hospitals. Crandall flew 14 missions into what became known as the Valley of Death, evacuating approximately 70 wounded men while providing a lifeline that allowed the battalion to survive. Flight data reconstruction using modern computer analysis has demonstrated that Helicopter Medal of Honor recipients performed maneuvers requiring precision flying skills under conditions that would challenge experienced test pilots in controlled environments. The tactical flying demanded during combat rescue operations involved maintaining stable hover positions while enemy forces directed accurate fire at stationary targets. These operations required pilots to coordinate multiple aircraft systems while processing tactical information and communicating with ground forces under extreme stress. Modern helicopter pilots who have studied Vietnam Medal of Honor missions describe the technical complexity of operations that appeared simple in historical accounts. Current aviators training on similar aircraft types have attempted to replicate the flight patterns used during Medal of Honor rescues in controlled training environments. These exercises reveal that Vietnam helicopter crews demonstrated flight skills that required years of experience combined with natural talent for precision aircraft control under adverse conditions. Aviation engineering analysis has identified specific technical innovations made by Medal of Honor recipients during combat operations that were not recognized until modern aircraft development programs studied their tactical methods. Captain Ed Freeman's techniques for approaching landing zones under fire involved flight patterns that minimized exposure time while maintaining aircraft stability for rapid loading of wounded personnel. These tactical innovations influenced modern combat search and rescue procedures that emphasize similar approaches to dangerous landing zones. The coordination between helicopter crews and ground forces during Medal of Honor actions established tactical principles that form the foundation of modern military aviation doctrine. Radio communication procedures developed during Vietnam rescue operations enable rapid coordination between aircraft and ground units that ensures successful extraction of personnel from contested areas. These communication protocols have been refined and incorporated into current military aviation training programs that emphasize integrated operations between air and ground elements. Modern combat search and rescue units use training scenarios based directly on Vietnam Helicopter Medal of Honor missions to prepare crews for similar tactical situations. Flight simulators programmed with historical weather conditions, terrain features, and threat environments enable current pilots to experience the decision-making challenges faced by Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients. These simulation programs have identified specific flight techniques that modern pilots must master to operate effectively in high-threat rescue environments. Advanced flight data analysis has revealed that some Helicopter Medal of Honor recipients made tactical decisions that contradicted established flight procedures, but proved more effective under specific combat conditions. These tactical innovations involved using terrain features to mask aircraft approach routes, coordinating with artillery units to suppress enemy fire during rescue operations, and developing communication procedures that enabled rapid coordination between multiple aircraft operating in confined airspace. Medical evacuation procedures used by modern helicopter units incorporate tactical methods pioneered by Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients who developed rapid patient loading techniques under fire. Current medical evacuation training emphasizes the importance of minimizing ground time during patient pickup operations. a principle established by Vietnam helicopter crews who recognized that extended hover time increased vulnerability to enemy fire while endangering both aircrew and ground personnel. The technical analysis of Vietnam Helicopter Medal of Honor actions has contributed to modern understanding of human performance limitations during high-stress flight operations. Research conducted using flight simulators programmed with historical mission parameters has identified specific physiological factors that enabled Medal of Honor recipients to maintain precise aircraft control while experiencing combat stress levels that typically degrade pilot performance. These studies have influenced modern pilot training programs that emphasize stress management and decision-making under extreme pressure. One officer who witnessed Major Crandall's operations during Ia Drang wrote that Crandall's actions were, without question, the most valorous he had observed of any helicopter pilot in Vietnam. This assessment reflects the extraordinary technical skill required to execute rescue operations that pushed aircraft performance beyond normal operational parameters while maintaining flight safety margins necessary for successful mission completion. Vietnam Helicopter Medal of Honor recipients demonstrated tactical flying skills that established performance standards for modern combat aviation, while pioneering rescue techniques that continue to save lives in contemporary military operations. Their technical innovations represented practical solutions developed under the most demanding operational conditions imaginable. Yet these aviation heroes were not alone in developing battlefield innovations that would influence military operations for decades to come. The ground combat revolutionaries, tactical innovation under fire. Medal of Honor recipients developed tactical innovations during ground combat that fundamentally changed how American forces fight today. Current military tactical manuals contain procedures that trace directly back to battlefield decisions made by Vietnam heroes during moments of extreme combat. These split-second tactical choices, often made while under intense enemy fire, contradicted established military doctrine, but proved more effective than standard operating procedures. Computer simulations programmed with historical battlefield data have enabled military strategists to recreate the exact tactical environments faced by Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients during their heroic actions. These digital reconstructions incorporate terrain features, weather conditions, enemy positions, and friendly force locations to analyze the tactical complexity of decisions made under extreme pressure. The simulation results consistently demonstrate that Medal of Honor recipients made tactical choices that maximized unit survival while achieving mission objectives through methods that contradicted their formal military training. Advanced battlefield modeling reveals that many Medal of Honor recipients implemented combined arms tactics that integrated infantry, artillery, and air support in ways that military doctrine did not recognize as effective until decades later. Staff Sergeant Drew Dix coordinated multiple supporting elements during urban combat in Chau Doc by directing helicopter gunships, naval gunfire, and ground assault teams simultaneously while maintaining tactical command of his unit. Modern analysis shows that Dix's tactical coordination methods are now taught in contemporary military schools as optimal procedures for complex urban warfare scenarios. Medal of Honor recipients frequently improvised weapons usage techniques that proved more effective than standard military procedures for their specific tactical situations. Sergeant Peter Lemon modified his M16 rifle's firing technique during a sustained defensive engagement by using controlled burst fire instead of standard semi-automatic shots to conserve ammunition while maintaining suppressive fire effectiveness. This tactical adaptation enabled Lemon to engage multiple enemy positions for extended periods using limited ammunition supplies, a technique now incorporated into modern marksmanship training programs. Unit coordination innovations developed by Medal of Honor recipients have fundamentally influenced modern small unit tactics and leadership protocols. Captain Roger Donlan established defensive coordination procedures during the Battle of Nam Dong that enabled isolated units to provide mutual support while maintaining independent tactical flexibility. Donlan's methods involved creating overlapping fields of fire between separated defensive positions while establishing communication protocols that enabled rapid tactical adjustments without centralized command authority. Battlefield communication methods pioneered by Medal of Honor recipients addressed tactical challenges that standard military communication doctrine could not solve effectively. Sergeant Franklin Miller developed hand signal systems during jungle operations that enabled silent coordination between widely dispersed units operating under conditions where radio communication was impossible due to enemy electronic surveillance. Miller's communication innovations are now taught in modern infantry training as essential skills for operations in contested electromagnetic environments. Special Operations Forces have systematically studied Vietnam Medal of Honor actions to identify tactical principles that apply to modern asymmetric warfare scenarios. The emphasis on adaptability and independent decision-making demonstrated by Medal of Honor recipients has become fundamental to Special Forces training programs. Modern Special Operations doctrine incorporates lessons learned from Medal of Honor recipients who operated successfully in contested environments while maintaining tactical initiative against numerically superior enemy forces. Leadership principles demonstrated by Medal of Honor recipients during combat have been codified into current military leadership doctrine that emphasizes moral courage and tactical competence under extreme pressure. The ability to inspire subordinates while making life or death decisions represents core leadership competencies that military academies now teach through case studies based on Medal of Honor actions. These leadership principles emphasize the importance of maintaining unit cohesion while accepting personal risk to accomplish tactical objectives. Weapons systems development programs have incorporated analysis of how Medal of Honor recipients used available equipment in innovative ways that exceeded design specifications and standard operating procedures. Modern military equipment designers study historical accounts of Medal of Honor recipients who modified or adapted their weapons and equipment to meet tactical requirements that original manufacturers had not anticipated. These insights have influenced the development of more versatile and use-adaptable military equipment systems. The aggressive application of combined arms tactics pioneered during Vietnam operations has become standard doctrine for modern military forces conducting operations in complex combat environments. Medal of Honor recipients demonstrated that coordinating multiple weapon systems and support elements through decentralized command structures could achieve tactical success against enemy forces that possessed superior numbers or defensive advantages. This tactical approach now forms the foundation of modern military doctrine for small unit operations. Decentralized command principles now taught in modern military leadership courses reflect lessons learned from Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients who demonstrated that junior leaders must possess authority and competence to make tactical decisions without direct supervision. The success of individual initiative displayed by Medal of Honor recipients has validated military doctrine that emphasizes distributing decision-making authority to the lowest appropriate command levels during combat operations. Modern military training scenarios designed to replicate the chaos and intensity of Vietnam combat conditions prepare soldiers to think clearly and act decisively under extreme pressure, following examples set by Medal of Honor recipients who maintained tactical effectiveness despite facing overwhelming enemy forces. These training programs incorporate stress inoculation techniques that build psychological resilience necessary for effective decision-making during life-threatening combat situations. Communication equipment development has been influenced by analysis of tactical communication challenges that Medal of Honor recipients overcame through innovative solutions during Vietnam operations. Modern military communication systems incorporate design features that address reliability and user interface issues, identified through studying how Medal of Honor recipients maintained tactical coordination under extreme combat conditions. Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients were tactical innovators whose battlefield decisions continue to influence how American military forces conduct operations in contemporary conflicts. Their split-second innovations during combat created tactical solutions that have been refined and incorporated into modern military doctrine. Yet these tactical innovations represent only one dimension of how these extraordinary individuals transform the institution they serve. The untold impact, how Vietnam heroes shaped modern military culture. The influence of Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients reaches far beyond their individual moments of heroism to fundamentally transform how the American military understands honor, sacrifice, and recognition. These men became more than symbols of courage. They became the foundation upon which modern military culture rebuilt itself after the most divisive conflict in American history. Their stories provided the moral framework that enabled the military to address its relationship with a nation that had turned against the war while never abandoning the warriors who fought it. The military faced an unprecedented challenge following Vietnam. Public support had collapsed, veterans returned to hostile receptions, and the institution itself questioned its role in American society. Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients offered something that no amount of public relations or political rhetoric could provide. Their actions demonstrated that individual courage and moral character remained intact regardless of political controversy surrounding the conflict. Military leaders recognized that these stories could serve as bridges between a skeptical public and an institution struggling to maintain its credibility and sense of purpose. Modern military ethics training programs incorporate detailed case studies based on the moral decisions made by Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients during combat situations that tested every principle of military conduct. These educational modules examine how recipients balanced competing loyalties, made life-or-death decisions under extreme pressure, and maintained ethical standards while facing tactical situations that offered no clear moral guidance. Military academies now teach courses that analyze specific moral dilemmas faced by recipients who had to choose between following orders and protecting civilian lives, between mission accomplishment and soldier welfare, between personal survival and collective responsibility. The military's approach to mental health and post-combat care has been revolutionized by understanding the long-term psychological experiences of Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients. Military medical professionals studied how recipients process the trauma of their actions, the burden of recognition, and the psychological impact of survivor guilt that many experienced for decades after their heroic moments. Modern military mental health programs incorporate lessons learned from Vietnam recipients who spent decades dealing with post-traumatic stress, depression, and adjustment disorders that were not recognized or treated during their era of service. Current programs emphasize early intervention, peer support networks, and specialized treatment protocols that address the unique psychological challenges faced by individuals who have performed extraordinary actions under extreme stress. Military ceremonies, traditions, and cultural practices have been reshaped by the need to properly honor Vietnam veterans whose service was initially overlooked or dismissed due to political opposition to the war. Medal of Honor recipients became central figures in efforts to separate warrior from war, to honor individual sacrifice while acknowledging political complexity. Contemporary military ceremonies regularly feature Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients as honored guests whose presence validates the continuity of American military values across different conflicts and generations. Their participation in change-of-command ceremonies, military academy graduations, and memorial services provides direct connection between modern service members and the generation that fought America's most controversial war. The stories of Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients have become essential tools for bridging generational gaps between Vietnam veterans and modern service members who serve in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other contemporary conflicts. Young soldiers learn that the challenges they face in modern warfare have historical precedents, that previous generations of Americans faced similar moral dilemmas, tactical complexity, and psychological pressures, while maintaining their commitment to military values and each other.